got Conway, who's slow, coming up the hill, and all of a sudden, here will come Chris Barrett. He's got himself an angle, and a line, and a way, and a no, and a how, to the outside to take the lead, and he's done it.
Will this be complete, though? Conway backs it up, tries to set it up, coming towards the outer loop this time. Barrett now to the race lead, had to recover from more than 5 seconds back after the two were separated on the pit sequence. Now Conway has one more section to try and find a way back around his teammate.
I wonder if he slowed up to make sure he had enough fuel to make it to the end. That will be the only reason why he dropped so dramatically on the run up through the S's section. But as he takes this rise now, if he's left himself enough on the fuel save, he'll have one place to attack. It's here at the heel of the boot. He looks to the inside. He sends up the inside. Oh, and the two make contact.
Bit of a battle down into Brooklands here, and this is Michael Davies trying to keep Lowendick from getting a second spot from his starting position, up from 8th to 7th, trying to get 6th spot, and he's on the inside. It's a drag race as they come onto the old pit straights, and he's going to have the inside. Teddy probably not going to give this one up as he's got the desired position. He has the higher ground. No, he's not going to have to give it up. Look at sending it in deep. Michael Davies is absolutely monster through there. Do they dare 3 wide? Trepanier thinking about it, then backs out, still carrying on down into the Maggots Beckons quarters, and Michael Davies is going to be able to successfully defend that spot.
It is quite amazing the turn of pace that Waring has gotten. Oh, there's been traffic for McGreevy up ahead, Zachary Brown in the Dog Bear BMW, and that has compromised Osowski, and that's going to be Waring trying to thread the needle on the outside coming into the 90, and at the pincer move with Osowski, he almost gets into Waring on the inside, but just manages to pull it up in time.
They've got to be a little bit careful about trying to be too aggressive going down into China Beach. It looks like Dave's going to try to be later on the brakes, maybe make the move. Barbosa getting a little bit squirrely under braking, and that is all the opportunity that Rodrigo Mies needs. He's going to try to send it around the outside of madness. Here he comes, diving it down side by side with Raymond Day.
As we watch him go down through the corkscrew, back towards the right side, looking towards another amazing finish, taking up that inside, going in to turn 10, he takes the lead as he hold it.
Can Prieto hold on after the descent of the rainy curb? Here comes Espes. One final corner for the season. Later on the brakes is Espes. Espes goes for the cut. Prieto parks it on the apex.
As we watch the heart rate monitor almost making contact in front of him, side by side, up through Hawthorne, still nobody willing to give way between them, and through he goes. Kimmo manages to get in, so does Michael DeTurk, as Suarez unfortunately dropping down to 13th.
Let's see, though, if Horvath is going to have anything. Tries to send a little bit of a move through the S's. Here he comes. A last-minute dive bomb. That is going to be into the inside line. Holding out to the outside as Horvath tries to get it. They spin. They spin across the line and make contact.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced SimRacing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client, and like we did today, we install a D-box system, we install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're going to give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much going to be a turnkey. So he's going to press start on his computer, and right after we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA. Treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really going to reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
Back-to-back victories by Andrew Hardman have seen him lock into a virtual stranglehold on the Formula 3 championship, despite it only being 4 races deep. While in the Porsche Cup Series, it was nothing short of chaos as Mid-Ohio threw a wrench into many a top driver's night. Will tonight be any different? Will we see storylines start to develop or old ones play out? Well, we won't have too long to wait as we get ready to watch round 3 of the PRL Thursday Night Series, brought to you here live on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm DJ Clark, and with me in the booth is Michael Johnson. Behind the scenes is our director, Joe Peak, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. First up on the schedule tonight is Laguna Seca, a track beloved by North American motorsports fans for decades upon decades. For more information about this Northern California gem, let's head over to our track guide to learn more.
Welcome to Laguna Seca. Located just east of Monterey, California, it's hard to deny that this is one of the more scenic American road courses. It travels up and down a hillside which not only offers spectacular views, but one of racing's most iconic corners. Clocking in at 2¼ miles in length, 11 turns split up the current configuration. I say current because up until 1988, the track's layout was shockingly simple with a mere 9 dangerously fast corners. But despite becoming a much more technical track, this difficult nature was retained in its modern form. Turn 6 in particular places an emphasis on precision and daring with its tricky dip at the apex and narrow racing line. But the most well-known spot on the track is of course the corkscrew. Blind and kinked on entry, it then whips the driver through a chicane which drops you nearly 60 feet. It's earned a reputation worldwide for forcing even the most daring competitors to second-guess themselves. But there's honestly a refreshingly wide variety in types of corners, making it a perfect track for driver coaching and training. Elevation changes, differing cambers, and every sort of apex imaginable leaves seasoned veterans and newcomers alike spending hours trying to perfect a lap. With the track becoming popular for hosting IMSA, IndyCar, and MotoGP in its recent history, it also brings out lots of vintage racers due to the Monterey historics each year. Likely to remain a fixture on the American racing scene, this legendary circuit is almost always high on drivers' best of lists. Its history and its uniqueness are sure to delight all for years to come.
Well, Michael, that is an overview of this absolutely majestic circuit, but how are these open-wheel Formula 3 cars going to take to this place?
Well, through these 11 turns, roughly 2¼ miles, they are going to have a good 5 places, I think, to really make these passes happen. Passing through turn 1, maybe, possibly getting it set up for the Andretti hairpin. Coming back around to turn 5, another good opportunity. As you head up the Rahal Straight towards the corkscrew, which is the iconic corner that everybody around the globe knows you have a really good passing opportunity in there, and your final probably coming around to that turn 11 as you try to outbrake the person getting into there. But you got to be careful on that one, because if you don't nail it just right, you're gonna get retaken next time you come down to the Andretti hairpin. So over these 2.25 miles, 3.6 kilometers, it's going to be a handful for everyone. They're watching their mirrors, they're watching in front of them, they're trying to plan ahead, they're trying to figure out where their fuel stops are going to come in and all that kind of stuff. So I think we're in for a lot of excitement at this track tonight.
Well, I certainly hope we get some of it. Before we get to that excitement, we'd like to tell you that our broadcast tonight is brought to you by ASR. Owned and operated by passionate SimRacers, Advanced SimRacing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com.
It's also sponsored by RaceLab. RaceLab helps you to improve your driving skills. With modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration, you can get the best out of iRacing. Start using it now for free at racelab.app.
Tonight's broadcast is also proudly sponsored by ButtKicker. ButtKicker provides an incredible level of immersion and realism to any game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Check them out at thebuttkicker.com.
And finally, the PRL Open Wheel Series is brought to you by NinjaTrader. Ready to compete against the financial markets? Supporting over 60,000 users across the globe, NinjaTrader provides award-winning trading software and brokerage services. NinjaTrader is always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting, and trade simulation. Visit NinjaTrader.com to get started with a free, risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance.
Well, we've got a couple of championships that drivers are competing for, and as alluded to at the beginning, Andrew Hardman absolutely putting the hammer down in the Drivers' Championship with a whopping 39-point advantage over Robert Ridgway. But Ridgway, though, a little bit closer between himself and Michael Broomhead, only about 11 points and 8 points back to Nick Horvath, with Fernando Rodriguez starting to breathe down Horvath's neck, only 2 points back. So some pretty good battle shaping up there, but it is really now or never time for these drivers to try to overtake Hardman. We also have a team's championship, Michael, and what can you tell us about that?
Well, with that number one spot on the driver championship side, Britannia iSports, 264 points. That's 57 points up from Atomic Racing Proton. Evolve Sim Sports Academy is behind them, back 97 points off the leaders, with SDS Racing Team at 101 and VHR Racing in 5th place, 156 points back.
All right, and the race details for tonight, well, for our normal viewers, you will know them quite well. We are in tune for a 31 or 40-minute race here, whichever comes first, and open setups, which could be a little bit crucial around here at Laguna Seca, as we may see some drivers tuning to maybe trim out the car a little bit to try to get some speed on the shorter straights here. You do get some problems if you run into incident points, a drive-through at 13 incidents, disqualified at 17, but there are bonus points available for pole, fastest lap, and 3 incidents or less as we get ready to be wrapping up qualifying right now. And surprisingly, it is not Andrew Hardman that is at the top of the charts. Michael Broomhead right now leading the way over Nick Horvath, but it is a very, very close gap between those top 3.
Yeah, these top 3 are really holding it tight. Michael Broomhead up there. But if you take a look, our previous leader, Nick Horvath, our previous pole sitter at this, just before this point in the race, the gap between him and Andrew Hardman, 0.005. These 3 through this race, it's going to be off the hook. It is absolutely going to be off the hook.
It will indeed. And while we watch these racers go around, we'd also like to thank another one of our sponsors, the Majors Garage. Make sure to check out the Majors Garage, home of free Baseline Plus setups. Get help from any of the garage coaches 24/7. Sign up now for awesome, affordable monthly subscriptions, telemetry, coaching, and much more at majorsgarage.com. Or use the special discount code MajorsGSRC for 10% off. We have a link in the description below that directly applies our special offer, so be sure to check that out. And Michael, we talked a little bit about setup, so we talked about the good setups there from Major's Garage, but how crucial is it to really get it right around here, and how much wiggle room do these drivers have?
Well, this is one of those interesting tracks where I think iRacing has done an absolutely brilliant job. As we take a look, Robert Ridgway pulling another fast lap. He's down to 1:14.649. But getting back to the idea of setups here, you have to be a little bit free in what you're trying to do. This track, iRacing has done a good job with trying to make sure the feel of the sand gets out onto this track, because it happens in real life. No lap back to back even is exactly the same, because there's a breeze that blows through here into this dry lake, Laguna Seca, that just blows a little bit of sand out there at every corner on every straightaway, so you lose a little grip. But next time you come by, maybe somebody came through and the wash off the back of their car blew the sand away, and now you've got traction, as we see somebody has just spun it around in the corkscrew there.
Yeah, indeed. That was one of the drivers there having a little bit of problems down through the corkscrew. As we watch our provisional pole sitter here, Robert Ridgway, going through that final corner, a potential area to overtake. We've seen that play out. Ridgway right now, he was quick through sector 4. Let's see if he's able to go any faster. He is not. He's going to be off just a little bit. Setting back up, Greg Doucette here is going to cross over the line. Greg will be able to go faster. That'll bump himself up to a 13th place.
Yeah, nice little run there. And like I was saying, it's very difficult in this track to find your footing lap after lap after lap. I expect to see people with variances of a couple of tenths from lap to lap, and it might be slower, it might be faster. It's just hard to say. Some of that is, am I in with a good drafting partner? Some of it is, did I get a little bit too much dirt on the outside of that corner? As we watch coming down here into this turn 2 right here, the Andretti hairpin, that's one of those spots you can get out there wide onto that. You can't get too wide because you will get an incident point if you get too far out. But trying to just arc the car around the Andretti hairpin, coming up here through turn 3, up into turn 4, as we watch Nick Horvath kick up a little bit of dirt coming through there. This is going to be one of those times where you just gotta hold your breath and hope it works out for you, and make a good run and make the best of the run that you have. You can't really compare lap to lap as much as we would normally like to.
Horvath looking like he went a little bit wide there coming up through turn 6. Let's stay on this nose cam for the ever impressive corkscrew section right through, and there's the dip down the corner. Michael, that corner.
There goes my stomach.
Exactly. It is just one of the most spectacular turns in all of motor racing.
I can tell you it is probably my favorite turn at any track I've ever been to. And I've been to tracks all over the world. But going up into the corkscrew and turning left without a sight anywhere. You cannot see over the hood of the car. I don't care what car you're driving. You can't see over the hood to look down there. And in the pro races, there's a fan. And I don't know who you are, but I love you. You are my favorite person ever. They put up a big ribbon around one of the trees. So when you turn in there are 2 trees, and then there's 1 tree. And then on the 1 tree, they tie this big, giant, usually yellow ribbon up there. And that is the exact spot that you straighten your wheel and put your foot down and try to go through the corner. And if you follow that, you will make that corner super fast.
All right, that's why we've got Michael Johnson here in the booth. There's some insider secrets that are coming on out. Looks like Nick Horvath not able to set a fast lap there. He's going to let the number 11 of Andrew Hardman on by him as they work their way up the hill and down here into the corkscrew once again. Yeah,
and unfortunately, the corkscrew here doesn't have that. And I got to tell you, every time I go through there in iRacing, I look for it. I still look for it. I'm so used to seeing that ribbon out there, but it's not there. And you got to just do the best you can. You got to look for the trees, and that'll tell you where to turn. Oh, and there we get a little bit wiggly on that exit. Nope, bringing it to a stop on the start-finish straight. Looks like he's going to hang it up for that one as we switch over to Adam McDonald, currently P29, running, not a better lap. Let's see if he's able to finish this one out.
Well, the checker flag has flown around here, so he's not going to be able to get anything done. We follow now on Devin Lampke as he comes around into that final corner. Lampke currently in 19th place. He's going to make the charge to the line in that bright pink number 31 machine. He's not going to be able to go any faster, unfortunately. Nicholas Carriendis not able to go any faster. I think the only driver that I see still out on track is Takeshi Kita, who is up in 9th place. He should be on for a flyer here as he brings it down into turn 11, that final curve. Here he comes coming out of the corner. Is this going to be faster for the Atomic Racing Proton driver? Yes, by a couple of hundredths of a second, and that's good enough for 5th.
Yeah, despite getting a little bit wiggly coming out of that turn 11, he still was able to shave just a little bit off that lap time. Makes a really nice run. I'm looking forward to see what Takeshi does. I'm going to give him a new nickname. He always seems to start farther back and then makes his way almost invariably to the podium. Sorry, that's not going to jinx you. No jinx, no jinx, no jinx. But I want to call him Mr. Sneaky because he just sneaks his way right up to the front.
All right, I'm going to write that down. We're going to have to start using that, Michael. All right, but it is time for the grid here at Laguna Seca for the Precision Racing League, as it will be Robert Ridgway starting off in pole position, followed by Michael Broomhead with Nick Horvath and Andrew Hardman behind them. Mr. Sneaky, Takeshi Kita going to be P5, followed by Stephen Ritters with Christopher Richards behind them and Max Chablis in 8th. Jonathan Almanar lines up in P9, and Fernando Rodriguez rounds out your top 10.
Looking at row number 6, starting with P11, David Cristelli with Brad Miller. Row 7, Greg Doucette and James Doherty. Sean Duhamel and Richard Swindells bringing up to 16. 17th place, Matthew Gunderson, Nicholas Carandis in 18th, and David Lampke and Colin Heffernan filling out the top 20.
In 21st, it's Tyler Gore, followed by Rob Campbell with Johnny Luna and James Carter behind them. 25th is Phil Lamaro, followed by Calvin Lee, Donald Olson, and James Holland. Adam McDonald will be 29th, followed by Nicholas Colander with David Hebert, Daniel Barnett, Brian Hoskins, Dave Peterson, and Tyler Scarali and Guillaume Piard, who I believe is race control, filling out the rest of your field. Well, quickly, Michael, how important is this getaway for these drivers?
Well, getting down through turn 1 is pretty easy, but you've got to get to the Andretti hairpin where you want your car to be, and it all depends on how everyone else is jockeying around you. If you're lined up in a certain spot, you have to be ready to change it because the car behind you is actually dictating where you are going to go through turn 2.
All right, well, Robert Ridgway, your pole sitter, hops onto the grid here as we get ready for the lights to come on. Waiting for them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they are out. We are racing in Laguna Seca. It's a monster start from Michael Broomhead. He is able to streak ahead and bring Andrew Hardman along with him. They're going to be a little bit side by side there in the back, as that is Horvath trying to hold on to the best of his abilities. Ridgway already down 8. A terrible start for him as they come out of the Andretti hairpin. The first couple of rows are clean. I saw maybe a little bit of contact there in the back, but no spinning cars. It is Broomhead, Horvath, Hardman, Ritters, and Kita.
I'm wondering if Ridgway had the same problem as last week. I believe last week he started off and he still had his pit limiter on, and that might have been happening again today, but that's no problem for him. He's so fast. I think he can make it back through this crowd and get his way back up to the front.
Who is that? Is Nick Horvath going very, very wide up through turn 5, pushing the car a little bit. That's going to leave him in opportunity to be overtaken potentially by Andrew Hardman. Hardman taking a wide line there through corner 6 as they come down through the corkscrew. Hardman really starting to stalk here. A little bit of action there in the back. I see a little bit of an off track for Tyler Gore, but I don't believe anybody else has had any major problems.
Yeah, even going too wide with a couple of drivers through the corkscrew. That is brave, but they made it through without contact, so great job with those guys. But as we take a look back at the front, as we watch Nick Horvath trying to make his way down here, doing his best he can to stay in front or catch up to Michael Broomhead. Broomhead going into the Andretti hairpin. This is a double apex turn, trying to power out, getting up to turn 3 as he actually opens up a pretty good gap here. But Andrew Hardman closing in on Nick Horvath right around 0.3 of a second.
And if I'm Michael Broomhead here, I am absolutely terrified about Andrew Hardman getting around. I know how much speed that car has, and indeed, he was only 0.06 of a second off of Broomhead's best lap. A little bit of a blink there for Nick Horvath. Again, running a little bit wide on the exit of turn 5. They continue to work their way around now, watching that battle as it continues to play out.
Yeah, that gap's opening up almost a second between Broomhead and Horvath now. That's a lot. When they head up to the corkscrew at this point, trying to get the perfect dive through here can either open it up or close it down. As we look at Nick Horvath, right at 0.6. He's closed up almost 0.4, 3 to 0.4, just going through the corkscrew.
As we ride back on board with Max Chablis here, this is sort of the end of this long train of the leaders. Jonathan Almanar right behind Chablis, but it's only about 4 to 0.6 of a second in between each of these cars. Chablis losing a little bit there. Oh, we've got a spinner off in the back. I believe that's James Doherty. Colin Heffernan as well having a problem.
Yeah, it looks like these guys back here just trying to get their way back up to the front, trying a little bit too hard, taking a look as he's trying to wait for the traffic to come by. Doesn't want to get back out into traffic, trying to go forward and back to not mess up someone else's race. Even when you go around, tensions get high, but you've got to be conscious of who else is around. As we watch him coming up here, going into the brake zone for the final corner, turn 11, gets on the power just a little bit too much. Looks like the car in front of him did the same, but they had a better opportunity to get around. Tries to do the Formula 1, spin it around, doesn't quite get there. Formula 3, close enough. You should have enough power to get it. It just didn't work for him this time.
Not able to get it going now. Heffernan will rejoin back in 30th position. Tyler Gore, the only car behind him out on track, as it looks like Lamke, Amaro, and Barnett did not start, although Lamke may be coming out there. Whoa! That is Dave Peterson off and into the grass. A big off, and that's going to set up a side-by-side directly ahead of them. Oh, banging wheels! That is not good! Both drivers off!
Oh, both drivers finding the kitty litter right there at the top of the corkscrew. Not the fastest way to get through there, as we notice. Andrew Hardman, happy to be out where he is at a 1:16.0, pulling the fastest lap. Let's take a look at the GSRC replay.
All right, so this is the 35 of Dave Peterson. You see that long, wide off run there, and then he's going to rejoin on the track. Jump up on board here. Oh, I think that was just a massive miscommunication.
Yeah, I think it was the passing driver here, James Carter, just didn't expect the car he was passing to be able to catch up so quickly coming into that braking zone. There was such a speed differential as they moved up into it. The last thing he expected was him to be there. Probably thought he was clear, maybe even had a clear signal from his spotter, and then boom, slides right in there, and there's not much you can do at that point.
No, there is not. But to give you a check back in at the front, Andrew Hardman has been able to get by Nick Horvath, and he is already starting to gap him to the tune of about a second. Now, the gap between Hardman and Broomhead was up at about 1.2 seconds, but Hardman is starting to close that in a little bit. As we jump back and check out the 77 of Robert Ridgway here and go back to a replay, this may be a little incident that he had, Michael.
Yeah, as he's coming up into the corkscrew here, getting really close up onto the tail of the car in front of him, tries to get around to the outside. Now over under just a little bit to the inside, a little bit too much on the outside there, slows him down to on that run. He had a beautiful setup there, but he just couldn't make it happen. There's a little bit of wing wash as he tries to come through that giant sweeper, and well, maybe the next time he comes down to turn 2, he'll be able to make that pass happen.
As you like to say, as we jump back here, this is Richard Swindells and Greg Doucette. Doucette having a good defense there coming up through turn 5. That is a heads-up play from Doucette. This is a battle that's been raging on here a little bit. Swindells is now forced to just kind of sit back and wait for the right opportunity to present himself as they charge up the hill.
Yep, heading up the hill here. He's going to take a look, trying to outbrake him, just get a little bit closer as he comes up into the corkscrew, diving down, coming through the sweeper. As we see there, this gap opens up. Greg Doucette seeming to be a little bit faster going through the sweeper there. But as we come up to turn 11, I think we're going to see something different from Swindells. He's going to have to try a little bit different tack. If he doesn't get it this time, he'll get it next time. But we'll see how he plays this out. Swindells is a very good driver, very smart. He will calculate exactly what he needs to do.
And that calculation so absolutely crucial, especially in these lightning-fast Formula 3 machines. You saw on our screen Michael Broomhead setting the fastest lap of the race, responding to Andrew Hardman. This is the sort of titanic battle that we've been waiting for between the two of them for the entire season. Oh, is that as a car going very, very slowly out on screen? Oh, that is Devin Lampke, who started a lap down, just getting out of the way. Oh, I think we've had an incident. Adam McDonald, Donald Olson, and James Doherty all caught out.
Ooh, those three having a hard day right now. If we go back and we look, he's trying to come back on the track here. We look at the GSRC replay as they're coming too wide, more or less trying to open this up and give each other a little bit of room coming past the start-finish line, going around through turn 1, taking a peek up the inside, now back towards the outside. Oh, just a little bit too much. Trying to defend that inside line and not enough on the outside, because 3 into 1 does not go very well.
No, it does not. So definitely the outtake there. And Andrew Hardman responding with his own fastest lap of the race to take that away. We've had more cars around. That looks like David Cristelli around, and I believe maybe Rob Campbell as well. So lots of incidents being taken out here today. Michael, a lot of drivers finding this outside kitty litter as, ooh, this is a good battle starting to develop up a little bit. I believe this is Christopher Richards holding off Robert Ridgway.
Yeah, that's a tough position to be in. I do not envy Christopher Richards at this point with the Robert Ridgway making his way down. That's not the person I want to see in my mirrors, that's for sure.
No, we have seen the tenacity out of Ridgway. Gets a good line there through turn 6 as they climb up the hill towards the corkscrew. Ridgway going to see what he can have. Little bit sideways coming in there, but is he able to gain any time? Ooh, overshoots the apex a little bit. That's going to cost him a couple of tenths.
Yeah, fortunately in the corkscrew though, it's almost dependent on when gravity grabs you. I have missed that corner. I've missed that first apex, missed the second apex. Not quite Zanardi-like, but I've missed it and still somehow magically come through with a faster time with very little explanation other than gravity was my friend on that lap.
Well, all right. I'm going to have to take that into my notebook of things from Michael Johnson, just giving me great driving advice the entire night long. So thank you for that, Michael.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. Love to put these little bits of knowledge out there and let everyone enjoy some of the insight.
We continue to watch that same battle. Christopher Richards holding off Robert Ridgway. Ridgway looking particularly strong here about through the first sector of the lap. And then as they start to climb the hill, that looks like to be when Richards starts to pull away a little bit. Let's stay on board with Ridgway here, see if he's able to get the better run through turn 6. Again, looks like he loses time through that corner.
Yeah, he's just, I don't know that he's losing time as much as he's not gaining it, and that Christopher just has an excellent attack to get through that corner. Look how close he gets to that sausage on the inside. He is millimeters off of it as we watch Robert Ridgway go through there on that one on turn 10, and he just clobbered it while Christopher right in front of him just sailed right by it with millimeters to spare.
Hardman setting the fastest lap of the race. We keep that battle on in the corner of our eyes, but this could develop into something. Ridgway trying to pull up in the draft. He's going to poke his nose to the inside. Is he going to think about going for it? Oh, that's a wide run there from Richards. They're going to be in a drag race now. The track switches back and favors Richards, and he's able to hold on.
Wow, that is some amazing defense from Christopher there. That is just an immensely difficult defense to create at that point. Once somebody gets up inside of you there, even though you've got the advantage at turn 3, they've got such a strong run to make it down there. Unless you get a perfect slot through there and take a little bit of that curbing, as he goes a little bit wide going up the hill, that's not going to help him out. Let's see if we see a pass going into turn 8.
He's going to think about it, but he's going to hold it back. No Zanardi lunge there through the corkscrew, but look how close he is behind. They work their way through a little bit of lap traffic, and both managed to keep it on the course through the rainy curve as they dive down now through turn 10. We've seen overtaking happening into this final hairpin. Will that be the ticket for Robert Ridgway? No, he's just going to try to square off the exit a little bit and get the best blast he can down this main straightaway. Here he goes. He's tucked up behind in the draft. Let's see what he's got. We've seen him be aggressive to the inside before. Now he's going to try it around the outside.
Hey, if the inside doesn't work, let's try the outside. Trying a little bit of over-under here. Too much. Has to lock him up, still makes contact.
And I think both drivers are going to be very fortunate to escape without major damage on that. Let's go back and check out the replay. We saw that big brake lock up there as it just looked like he tried to get on the power a little bit too early.
Yeah, watch him coming through turn 1 here, which is kind of a non-turn. Knows he's going to set up on his defense on the inside, comes around wide, goes for the over-under, but he catches the over-under and doesn't really stall at the second apex there. But because of the line he took through there, Christopher seems to have stalled. There was nothing about that that was untoward. That was perfectly good racing. It was just unfortunate contact because of some really good defense, to be honest.
Oh, but he's going to try it, and he's got it down through turn 10. Oh, my goodness gracious. That was Robert Ridgway with a move of steel to be able to pull that move off. We do not normally see overtaking getting done down into turn 10 like that.
Yeah, turn 10 is one of my least favorite places to pass here. I usually want to set up for turn 11 when I'm coming through turn 10, but doing it there, this is crazy. Let's go back and take a look at the GSRC replay. Going super fast around the outside, just getting a much better run through there. I'm thinking there may have been something not quite right with that car. There was something that didn't happen. He missed his exit on the corner or something. Watching it again as we come down through here, it was just a better run. Like I said earlier, gravity was his friend this time.
Just took that gravity like Sir Isaac Newton and ran with it. Absolutely incredible run there from Robert Ridgway. That will find him up into P5.
Yeah, nice run, nice pass, well set up. It's patience. That's really what it is. You can try to push for the pass, you can try to pester for the pass, but what really gets it for you is the patience. You just got to wait for that guy in front of you to make a little bit of mistake and then capitalize on it. It's the patient move that will get you to the end. As we switch to Steven Ritters trying to make his run on Nick Horvath right here. Nick Horvath was way up front, but now he's got Steven Ritters only 0.3 off of his tail, while in front of him is a 4-second gap to Andrew Hardman.
Yes, it is. As Robert Ridgway, now clear of all of that, is able to set the fastest lap of the race. So we keep our eyes focused on this battle. Ritters just stalking behind Horvath here. Horvath running wide on the exit of turn 3. Not exactly able to get it down quite the way he would like to, but that didn't seem to hurt him all that much.
Yeah, that's not the fastest way in the simulator to do this, but in real life, that curbing actually extends all the way from the exit of turn 3 to the entrance of turn 4. There is no break in the curbing there. So if he's used to doing this track in real life, maybe he was thinking it would still be there or magically show up in the sim. But running through that dirt there, that's going to create a problem. However, if he knew what he was doing and really planned it, kicking up a little dirt to throw off the guy behind you, not a bad tactic.
Interesting way to think about it. I like it. It does look like, however, that Ritters is able to close in a little bit. He's got that gap under about 0.4 of a second as they go into the braking zone. It's going to Constantina out a little bit here, but that 27 certainly within draft range. He's going to try to tuck up behind, see if he can do anything going down to the Andretti hairpin. I think he's just a little bit too far back, and indeed, he'll just check himself up.
Yeah, 0.4, 0.3. It's a little bit too far in these cars. I think you're going to need to be under a quarter second, right? 0.21, 0.22, around there. I think you can get it, but 0.25 and more, it's going to be really difficult. As we watch, I believe that is Richard Swindells making his pit stop.
All right, and this is just before the halfway point, so this is expected. By the way, the track temperature out there, only 74 degrees Fahrenheit out on track, so I do not anticipate tire wear really being a huge issue here, as this is not a track that is really known for eating up tires, Michael.
Well, it depends on what iRacing has done in my experience. Real life, this track will eat up tires, but iRacing, sometimes it does eat tires because of the way it simulates the dirt coming across, the sand coming across. Other times, the track is just dirty and there's stuff all over it, and it ends up pretending like there's actual sand in there, and it tends to be like sandpaper on the tires. You really never know what you're going to get. It's a roll of the dice.
It is, as we focus here on Christopher Richards trying to chase down Jonathan Almanar right ahead of him. Richards has been closing in the past couple of laps, able to get a good run there out of the corner. He's got to watch out, though. That is teammates that he is sandwiched in between, with Fernando Rodriguez directly there behind him. Not going to have a dive going down into turn 2, but he is certainly close enough to think about it.
Yeah, these three in a little train here just trying to bide their time. It looks like we've got two teammates sitting there trying to make a little sandwich, but working this in conjunction, because we're coming up to around the pit stop rotation. It's about time for these folks to start thinking about it, and are they going to make the right choice of when to dive into the pits? I don't think we're going to see an over-under type situation or a hammer time situation like we do in F1. It's not really the same here. Everybody has their own pit stall. So working together-ish at this point is not unheard of.
Alrighty, so we'll have to see if that tag team continues to play out, as now that battle starting to flip back the other way. Richards looking like he is losing some ground to Almanar, and Rodriguez now the one that is in the catbird seat.
Yeah, this is not a bad position to be in. I think these three are really just going to play this out. But I would like to give a quick shout to Mr. Sneaky, Takeshi Kita. Looks like he's turning some fast laps. He's just turned a 15.6 on his last lap, 15.2 on the lap before that. That was his fastest lap. He's really burning up here, trying to catch in front of him Steven Ritters. Steven is kind of out on his own right now, trying to close in on Nick Horvath, as we were watching before, but it's not going to be too long before Takeshi Kita, Mr. Sneaky, makes his way up into that battle.
And Takeshi, always one that has some fantastic race pace. He is currently where he qualified, but as you said, that battle certainly starting to play out. I've been keeping an eye, by the way, on our leaders. Don't worry, you are not missing anything. That gap has just stubbornly stuck at about 1 second this entire race long.
I think they're trying to make sure their watches are absolutely in sync as they run through this, because like you said, oh wait, we're down to 0.2 of a second. Something happened to Michael Broomhead. Something happened to him. 0.2 of a second. That's not where he planned on being at this point.
He had a big off coming down through turn 10. That is what happened. That is what set the leader off. And here comes the move for the lead. Andrew Hardman going to try to dive it down to the inside. That's going to be Broomhead trying to hold it around the outside. Looks for the over-under, but that's going to be Hardman holding it off. Broomhead now trying to get a better line of attack coming into that third turn. Oh, it is Andrew Hardman up into the lead of the race. Your championship leader up 3 and now leading.
And Michael Broomhead not going to take that lying down. Let's go back and take a look at this as he works his way into the corkscrew coming through here. Nice, puts the power down, gets out to the right side, wants to look for that sausage curve, just missing it all the way to the outside. Coming up into turn 10, heavy on the brakes, a little bit too much of that sausage curve on the inside, sends him out into the kitty litter. That takes that 1 second gap and turns it into P2.
Oh, that has got to be heartbreaking for Broomhead, and that gap has already expanded back up to about 0.7 of a second. So Hardman trying to press his advantage here as much as possible.
Doing everything he can to turn that gap the other way. It was a second and sitting there at exactly a second. But as we look back at P3 right now, we've got Nick Horvath in third place with Steven Ritters right behind him. Takeshi Kita has closed up. It is now under 0.4 of a second, but Ridgeway climbing right up Takeshi's backside, trying to get in there and be part of this as he puts his nose down to the inside going into turn 2. Is he going to try to make it through there? Gets the early apex. Takeshi Kita looking back around, hoping for the over-under, doesn't quite get it.
Little bit of a dip into the gravel there for Robert Ridgeway, but he is up and through. Remember, Ridgeway just had that terrible start that saw him fall back down through the field. We were sort of questioning earlier if he had the same problem that his pit speed limiter was on, but it looks like he is now going to be all over the back of Steven Ritters as Ritters puts a toe off into the gravel, and that's going to allow for Ridgeway back up into P4.
Yeah, it's these little mistakes, and this is that evolving track I was alluding to earlier. He may have gone through there last time at exactly the same speed and had zero issues with the exact same trajectory, exact same everything, except this time there was a little bit more sand that was on the track, just pushed him out a little wider than he actually wanted to be as we watched Rodriguez going up the inside at the corkscrew, under braking, making the pass. Beautifully done.
There may have been a little bit of contact there in between. We are hearing, we'll have to go back and check it out on the replay. Now, this is going to be on board with Rodriguez. You can see he takes the look going up into turn 6. Doesn't exactly pay off. Now he's going to have the look coming up into the corkscrew. It may have been a little bit of ghost contact, but we're not seeing a whole lot on our screens.
Yeah, it doesn't look like any damage there. It was close, and sometimes the sim decides it's time to predict there was damage. But I don't see any damage on either one of those cars, and they both seem to be still running a pretty good pace.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like either of them got caught out by it. As we watch here, that is, I believe, Greg Doucette coming in and out of the pits. We are over halfway, so pit stop's starting to fire off here on the PRL Formula 3 Series.
Yep, as he goes through this interesting pit exit, this is one of my favorite tracks on the planet, but it is definitely my least favorite pit exit. That thing is off camber, it is always covered with sand, and you just can't ever hope to get a good run on your exit through there, and it can be frustrating.
All right, we've had a high-position driver come on in. Nick Horvath opting to take a little bit of an earlier pit stop here as he pulls his number 382 Evolve Sim Sports Academy machine down pit lane. So Horvath comes to a stop. I do not anticipate him taking tires here. Let's just keep our eyes to make sure. And indeed, just fuel only for the 382.
Yep, doesn't need to go for the tires here. I don't think we're getting as much tire wear as I have seen in the past. So, and it's also remember, we've only got 13 laps left. Putting on new tires, waiting a couple of laps for them to get back to temperature. Oh, as we got one in the wall.
Oh my God, that's Broomhead! That's Broomhead!
Oh, that is not what he wanted to see. Absolutely doing everything he can to fight back to get that first place position over again. Coming up, just a little bit of that tunnel of air coming out through. It looks like he's done it well. But as we come up to turn 6, is this where it happened on the exit 6? Yep, going in just too much of the outside curbing got into the dirt, which put him over that sausage curbing at the apex with the nose of the car. That will easily end your day as we watch him turn in here just a little too much. Coming around just perfect on this one, but right here he gets a little bit too far to the outside. That right rear just catches too much, and bam, hits that inside sausage curbing, puts him right into the wall. That's going to end his day.
And Michael, how terrible of a feeling is that as a driver when you know you've made the mistake and you are just a passenger flying through the kitty litter like that towards the wall?
For me, I'm always trying to figure out how am I going to explain this to the crew. You don't have that so much in iRacing because you are your own crew. Everything's virtual, but you've got people that are watching you, your friends, your family, your sponsors. They're watching. They want to know that you're going to do well, and you just feel so terrible that a silly little mistake, a slight miscalculation has ended the day and brought them disappointment. So for me, I always start thinking of everybody else when I screw up something like that.
All right. Well, good things to know there. I guess that's will make it a little bit easier for Michael that he's only got himself to answer to, as it were, on that mistake. But that has really separated out the field quite a bit. Our biggest battle here right now, our closest battle, it's sort of between these teammates of Ritter and Ridgeway Ritters and Takeshi Kita. Got a nice little battle here with Horvath as he's trying to work his way through the field after that pit stop. He just got a move done on Johnny Luna, so clearly that machine there, that 382, has got some speed, and he is not afraid to use it as Johnny Luna now opts to come down pit lane.
Yeah, Horvath now has the opportunity with no other cars really around him to really start putting his nose to the grindstone, turning perfect laps, get himself back up to the pointy end of this lineup as he's used to being in.
We've got some more drivers coming down pit lane. I believe that's Cristelli that we are seeing, the 009 coming down right now. Luna in as well. There are
that was a quick stop
on their way. Yeah, it really was.
That was a very quick stop for Cristelli. I'm going to see if I can look up what his stop time was. But that seemed to be a little bit quick. He was 6.1 seconds stationary, but not the shortest. I see a couple of them out there that are shorter.
All right, as we have the leader of the race coming on down pit lane in the form of Andrew Hardman. Steven Ritter's also coming in, Takeshi Kita. Interestingly, Robert Ridgway is going to stay out and try to milk this for another lap. Only 10 laps here to go. Hardman hits his box nice and easy, so no problems there. Waiting for the other drivers behind him to come to a rest. Hardman is out and on his way. That should deposit him in about third place, I believe.
And I know it's only a simulator, but I swear, looking through the visor of that helmet, I could just see the heartbreak in his eyes, because he had such a good race going with Michael Broomhead that it's sad to see it in that way, especially with the leftovers of Michael's car sitting right there in front of him.
For sure. As we watch Nick Horvath here, this is Horvath coming back around after his pit stop. This is behind Takeshi and everybody. All right, so this is live picture. This is him. He is deposited out in 7th position behind Takeshi Kita and the rest of those Atomic Racing drivers.
Yeah, it looks like he had a bit longer on his pit stop. Nick Horvath running a little over 7 seconds, but Takeshi Kita right around 4. Now, if we look, we're about to go up the hill here, trying to head up. Oh, goes a little bit wide. That's going to make it difficult for his run on Kita at this point. But he's still got a nice pace coming up in here, and he's getting really close under braking to get to Takeshi Kita. Notice that pit stop time, though. That's a big difference. 4.5 second stop for Takeshi Kita. Did he take enough fuel? Did Nick Horvath take too much fuel as he looks up the inside of turn 10? That's 2 passes we've seen tonight at turn 10. Not a place you normally expect to see one.
Not at all, and Horvath really gunned it. I wonder if you are right that Kita maybe underfueled the car, and he's a little bit concerned about it as the rest of the pit stops fire away. That's Ridgway, Rodriguez, Chablis, Miller. I'm seeing all coming down pit lane.
And now Ridgway, long pit stop here for Ridgway as he's in 6th place right now. Is he going to hold on to 6 as we look at him coming down? Looks like he's going to fall back maybe to 7th or 8th as he makes his way around. Oh, looks like somebody kind of went sideways in front of him too, may have recovered. Coming back out, filtering into this group, trying to hold the position, see how long he can hold on to this. He looks like he's going to hold on to 6th place, just staying ahead of Jonathan Almanar.
And those are 2 lapped cars that he has directly ahead of him in the form of Brian Hoskins and Donald Olson. But yeah, a 20-second stop there for Robert Ridgway. That's very confusing. There's not a penalty that I know that you would necessarily get a 15-second stop and hold. He may have had a little bit of damage that was needed to be repaired, potentially. That's kind of the only thing I can think of that would force him to be stationary for that amount of time.
And I don't think tires would take that long. Tires are quick on these cars. And I think on these cars, they're also simultaneous with fuel. So I can't imagine what would cause that to be so long, unless he just clicked the button and put in 20 gallons of fuel instead of the 3 that he needed.
Well, we will have to find out as he has got his work cut out for him. We've got a little bit of a battle in the back here, though. This is David Cristelli with Calvin Lee trying to hold him off. Cristelli in the green and yellow machine as they fly their way down the hill through Rainy Curve. Cristelli starting to put the pressure here to the Flying Husky Racing driver.
And I think Takeshi Kita, Mr. Sneaky, has made it back around Nick Horvath. We'll have to take a look back at that if we can try to find that. But right now, let's take a look at these two trying to go through turn 6, head up the hill. Oh, here we go. Oh, down into through turn 1, trying to stave off that pass, holding that inside line, trying to sneak back up in there. Doesn't quite get it, running wide at the exit of turn 2. Nice exit of 3, reopening this corner up, trying to get down to turn 4. And now it's the long run down to turn 5. And I think he's got enough gap here to hold it open. I think he's going to hold it all the way down to turn 5. We'll see what happens when they work their way back up the hill towards the corkscrew.
And that was an incredible bit of defending there from Calvin Lee. You really saw him as just as he planted the car right at the apex, forced Cristelli to back up off the corner, wasn't able to get the launch he wants. Cristelli looking a little bit threatening, though, coming up through the corkscrew. He's not going to be able to have anything quite yet, but Lee locks up the brakes. Could that open up the opportunity here? Here they come down the hill. That's a look into the Rainy Curve. Cristelli's got to be careful about that. He's trying to be getting around. He's going to fall back just a little bit.
Yeah, smart move at that point. If you don't have it done by 10, you really need to back out just a little bit and try to get a launch as he spins. Spins coming through turn 11, paying too much attention to the car in front of him, allowing Calvin Lee to just drive off into the sunset.
And that will be a huge relief for Calvin Lee, as now he will have a nice little gap around him as we're going to go check out the replay here. Michael, talk us through this. It just seemed like getting on the throttle a bit too early, as you said.
Yeah, it looks like he was coming around here, and this happens. It happens to a lot of drivers. You look ahead and you're thinking, I've got it, and you get a little bit too excited and you forget where you are. He was probably half a car length too soon to push the loud pedal at that point. Half a car length, he would have been right up there and had a chance for a pass at turn 2. Now he's fallen way back, let Calvin Lee run way ahead of him.
Yeah, he has, and he lost a couple of spots there in the process. Want to jump you over to our closest battle out on track right now. This is the battle for P5. Fernando Rodriguez trying to hold off Robert Ridgway. Ridgway has been closing down the past couple of laps. That was a big lockup there in front. That was Nick Horvath who made that lockup, but he still has about 3 seconds up the road. There you can see it's just starting to come down a little bit. A little bit of inconsistency, I think, coming into play here for Rodriguez.
Yeah, and Ridgway had a big problem on lap 23. That may have been his pit lap. But as he comes out, notice how he's closed up. He's got a half a second to the good on him on lap 25. As we look at lap 26 here, trying to make up every little bit as he can, but he's going to try to do this smartly. He doesn't need to be a bull running through the China shop and knocking everything down. He wants to make a smart move because right now he's in a position where he's not on the podium. He wants to be on the podium from going 6th up to 3rd, 2nd, 1st. That's where he's trying to think ahead now. So he's got to race smart and not try to over push the car.
Well, and he's got to also figure out how to navigate James Holland, who gets out of the way there, and negating my point. But look how close that allowed for Robert Ridgway to get behind him. He's going to try to tuck up in behind the draft here on the start-finish straightaway as they get going. The gap coming down from about 0.3 of a second. It's ticking its way on downwards as it comes in. That looks like a little bit of a move to the inside there for Robert Ridgway. He's not going to go for it, though. He's going to stay in line.
Yeah, both cars staying tied to that inside. Nobody pushing out to the outside for the wide entry on turn 2. Was not the good move for either of them because I think we already saw a little bit earlier there was some nose-to-tail contact from one car, the trailing car going a little wider, trying to make the run and just getting caught up at that second apex on the Andretti hairpin.
Yeah, just not able to do it, but still here about 5 laps to go, so plenty of time for him to be able to get up nice and close, working, trying to poke his nose to the inside as they lead their way up into the corkscrew.
Yeah, heavy hard onto the brakes, a little bit of a tiny lockup, normal for that part. You've got a huge unload of the car, and looking up the inside, trying to get around. And there's contact! Spins him right around in turn 9.
Just a little bit of miscommunication there. That is going to allow for Jonathan Almanar to get back up on through right now. But the way they come out on track, it looks like this battle may still continue on. Let's go back and check out the replay there, Michael. It just kind of looked like they both turned into each other.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a lockup there, like we were saying, trying to come down with the car unloaded and trying to recover it, get into the throttle. Now they're side by side. I think there was a lack of communication. Spotter wasn't quite on it. Or if you're using one of the automated spotters where they only tell you once the overlap happens, at that point it's really too late. This is why I always recommend people when you're in a race like this where you're being broadcast or you want to show well, that you make sure you have a live spotter who can tell you, hey, this guy's poking his nose in, this guy's making a look to the left, he's making a look to the right. It's good to know those type of things so you can focus forward and let them tell you what's happening behind you, where the automated ones just can't do that.
For sure. As we watch here, though, the number 12, certainly with the bit between his teeth, I think Rodriguez wants that position back. He's trying to claw it down about 0.4 of a second as they get down, going through the horseshoe. That gap expanding a little bit. Gravity not playing into the hands of Fernando Rodriguez. He's able to get it down under 0.5, though, as they break down for turn 10.
Looking at him just using every bit of track. That is a huge scoop inside there. There's so much camber in turn 10 with relatively little at turn 11. Fortunately, iRacing has changed the limits there at the exit of turn 10, so you can go out a little bit farther. But notice how quick he's moving up on him right here, trying to take the inside, take it out, a bunch of those pylons as he works his way down into the braking zone of turn 2. inside, taking it away from him. Oh, and trying to come back, and not quite there. Holding that inside line, keeping him just off of it as they work their way through turn 3 and down to, a little bit too much dirt on turn 4.
Oh, too much dirt, but he's able to keep it going nice and easy here. It looks like Rodriguez is going to be able to hold on to that position for now. Robert Ridgway demoted back down into 7th.
Oh, Ridgway having a really good fight here. This is an entertaining race. This might be for P6, P7 territory, but you know, the exciting race is not always at the front. Andrew Hardman sitting up there with a 9, almost 10-second gap back to Steven Ritters, with Takeshi Kita right behind him a couple of seconds. But no, a little bit of a lockup going through the corkscrew right there. Is he going to be able to close this gap back up? We only have 2 more laps to go. Not a lot of time to make that up.
Not a lot of time to make that up indeed, but it is indeed 2 laps to go here for Andrew Hardman, who is looking to make it 3-4-3 in the second half of this season. Doing a great job. Remember the battle he was involved with earlier on with Michael Broomhead. He was able to hold that out as Max Chablis able to sneak away and take the fastest lap of the race there. So clearly some speed to be had for Chablis.
And just want to point out on the side of Andrew Hardman's car, you guys may remember last week's race that he reminded us that he had to put his cat down. And I believe that is his cat on the side of the car with a nice in memory of beautiful tribute.
For sure, a beautiful tribute there, but he has got to focus right now because he only has 1 more lap around this challenging Laguna Seca circuit. Oh, Ritters is slow.
What happened to Ritters? It looks like Takeshi Kita has come around and is going to be in P2. Ritters holding back still a quarter second behind him.
He's holding back a quarter second behind him. I'm not entirely sure what happened to Steven there, if that was an off track or if that was an incident, but
taking it laying down. Here he comes back around, takes the inside of turn 2. Takeshi Kita trying to push it around to the outside as much of the track as he can take, and then some. Coming up into turn 3, Takeshi Kita ready to take back that P2 and spins it coming out of 3.
Oh no, what was a podium for Takeshi Kita now thrown away unless he can get back and going. He's still got a pretty decent gap, but there goes Nick Horvath.
Nick Horvath moving up into P3. Takeshi Kita, Mr. Sneaky, not quite sneaky enough today. Thought he was going to get that P2. Nick Horvath, though, a promising run from beginning to end, just putting his nose to the grindstone, making his way through as we come back to Andrew Hardman.
Hardman only has 2 more corners to navigate here around this Laguna Seca circuit. He brings it down through turn 11, near picture perfect apex. He's going to take it down across the start-finish line. Barney has the flag in his hand, and he starts waving it for Andrew Hardman, who takes victory here in the Precision Racing League's Formula 3 Series. Behind him, it will be Steven Ritters, a whopping 13 seconds back. The number 27 will hold on to that second place on the podium. And thanks to the mistake by Takeshi Kita, Nick Horvath will take P3.
Ooh, and wiggling the car a little bit in excitement right there at the end as we watch Takeshi Kita made it around without a front wing, still able to hold on to P4 with Almanar right behind him, wishing he could have taken advantage of the lack of wing on Takeshi Kita's car.
A really impressive run truly there from Kita on that last lap. I can confirm, by the way, what set up all of that was Ritters went wide coming down through the corkscrews. We've got a little bit of a battle coming on here. Johnny Luna leaning from Matthew Gunderson and Sean Duhamel. Duhamel looking very, very threatening on the back of Matthew Gunderson. You can get those passes done into the final corner. It looks like Gunderson's going to try to Gunderson's going to try to stave off a little bit more. Duhamel looking for the over-under out of the final corner. I don't think he's got it. And indeed, that is going to be Gunderson over Duhamel.
Oh, Duhamel had the right idea there, trying to hope that maybe Gunderson would run a little bit wide. If he runs wide there and just misses a little bit of traction, he can make it up the inside. But it is a last lap dive that you have to do that on. You cannot do that in the rest of the race. The only time you'll see that is the end of the race. And some people may remember that real live race that happened back when it was Grand Am here, I think in 2009. There was a Corvette and a Porsche not playing well together right through there. That's exactly what we were about to see without the colorful language and flaming cars.
Indeed, as coming across the line to take victory, though, Andrew Hardman will be your victor here, followed by Steven Ritters and Nick Horvath. Takeshi Kita came home fourth with that damaged front end of the car, with Jonathan Almanar rounding out your top 5. Fernando Rodriguez was 6th, followed by Max Chablis, with Robert Ridgway, Greg Doucette, and Calvin Lee rounding out your top 10.
Nice job by Calvin. But in P11, we've got Brad Miller, Nicholas Carangis following right behind him. Not too far back from there is Johnny Luna, the close of that race, that little battle we were just watching with Matthew Gunderson and Sean Duhamel. Tyler Gore bringing in 16th with James Doherty, Donald Olson, James Holland, and David Cristelli out the top 20.
In 21st, it was David Hebert, 2 laps down, followed by Adam McDonald, who was 3 laps down. Devin Lamke, 4 laps down. A lot of these drivers having problems throughout the day. Christopher Richards, James Carter, Brian Hoskins, Nicholas Colander, and now the rest of your drivers DNFs on the day, unfortunately. But we are able to chat with the driver who did not DNF and indeed took the top step of the podium, Andrew Hardman. Andrew, it looked like you were on the back foot there a little bit early in the race, but once you got to the front, there was no looking back.
Yeah, qualifying was tough. It was hard to find a clean lap early on, and then right at the end, I was up, but then gotten off track. So that was a bit tough to handle. But yeah, nice start from the two, Mike and I, as well as Nick Horvath. And Nick was very respectful and letting me by when he made a slight mistake. So thank you, Nick. And yeah, it was just pulling away with Mike, but he had the pace on me for sure. I was just driving as consistently as possible to keep with them, but unfortunately he made some mistakes. Well, unfortunately for him, but good for me. And yeah, capitalize on those.
Well, in terms of, making those mistakes, it looks like you have been able to absolutely minimize doing that across the course of the season, and it's able to build you up into a pretty substantial lead here in the championship. As you start to go along in that, is it going to change your mentality at all in the way you're driving now that you have such a lead?
For sure. At this point, it's just about maximizing points and minimizing the bad races. So try to keep making a few mistakes. But if I have to take second, like I thought I was going to have to take today, I'll take second.
All right, a little bit of a professorial type approach. Well, we head to Donington Park next, one of those races that we don't always see a whole lot on the service. How do you think that's going to go for you?
Donington's an interesting track for me. I've not had great success there before, but it's also a really fun track to drive, and I'm sure I'll get some good laps in this week, and yeah, come ready to fight on next Thursday.
Well, we're looking forward to the fight, my friend. Anybody you want to thank for the run here today?
Well, of course, Team Britannia. These guys have been awesome to run with all week. It makes practicing really, really fun to have some guys to hang out with. Of course, Mike, the leader of our team, he's been pushing us really hard. We've got some great setups out of him and out of our collaboration. Of course, you guys for putting on a good show. This is awesome to rewatch and tell my friends about. Sorry, I forgot where I was going with that. That's it. Thanks, guys.
Well, thank you, Andrew. That was Andrew Hardman, your victor here today. And now, Michael, I believe you've caught up with P2, Steven Ritters.
Indeed, I have. Steven Ritters, a wonderful run today, starting off, I believe, in P6, working your way up to the end of the race in P2. You were actually at P4 by the second lap. Now, when I go back and I look at the run through the race, you didn't have your fastest lap until around lap 19 or so. Was this a tire saving strategy, a fuel saving strategy? What was the plan that caused you to push it that late? Or, hey, it just comes when it comes?
The strategy was don't wreck at the beginning. So I was gradually pushing more and more and more. And then accumulated into the second to last lap where I went off in the corkscrew, which is what we saw at the end of the race there.
Yeah. So about the strategy through the race, were you trying to maximize fuel and take short stops, or were you just going to put your nose to the grindstone and go as fast as you could every single lap and make up as many places as possible?
Well, I had a good battle with Nick for about half the race there in the first stint. And once he pitted, I believe, to get out of traffic and try to put a couple of fast laps down, at that point, I was just thinking, if Robert pits, I'll keep on going, and if he keeps on going, I'll pit. And he ended up going for one more lap, and I decided to pit just to deconflict any issues going into the pit lane itself.
So you and Nick, you mentioned the pit stop. So you and Nick were going really good battle, and we covered it very, very nicely through a lot of that. Your pit stop, your stop time in the box was only about 4 seconds. His 7.2. Was there any problem with fuel at the end? Did you find yourself having to save fuel, or did the spin take care of saving fuel for you?
No, I had calculated the refueling window I needed to hit for all week, and it was consistently about 10 liters for the last stint. So with about a liter spare, so there was really no fuel savings. Pretty much pedal to the metal.
Well, good to hear. Good to hear. Again, really nice race. You came up 4 positions through the race. Challenging to do at this track. Should be just as much fun next track. I believe Donington will be the next location. Anybody you want to thank for coming in P2 today?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the entire team at Atomic Racing. Great bunch of guys who work hard throughout the week to get ready for these races and other events. I'd like to thank my wife here in Canada and my parents back home in Montreal.
That was Steven Ritters, our P2 finisher today. And the guy we were talking about, the battle he was having, Nick Horvath, is talking to DJ.
Well, Nick, I think an exciting race does a disservice to the race you had, but how was it from behind the visor?
It was pretty all right. I think my setup was made more for the hotter temperatures early on, and I just sort of fell off near the end. I didn't have the speed to be able to catch up. I was more surprised that I actually got third at the end anyways.
Well, we saw you kind of back off a little bit at the start of the race, kind of giving that position over to Ritters. What was your thought process there going into the first couple of corners?
Well, I had messed up. I hit the sausage curb and ended up having wheel damage. So rather than, it was more or less just okay, it happened. Let's just put it behind us, pit early, and then we'll come back and attack and see where we can go from there.
So was that strategy to pit early, that was born out of circumstance rather than your plan all along?
The way the setup I had was, I knew if I could pit early, I could even take tires, and I'd still feel all right. Like I knew I could still fight back and at least gain enough ground to get a top 5. It's just I had just enough damage that it ended up being enough of a pit time that it really made no difference. It was almost like I took tires.
Gotcha. Well, third place is nothing to shake a stick at. Anybody you want to thank quickly?
Big thank you to everyone back at Evolve in Britannia. Awesome racing with them. Really, really happy with the way this season's going so far. Shout out to Joey and Ozzy. Sorry you guys couldn't be here, but got this one for you.
Well, thank you so much. That was Nick Horvath, your third place finisher here today. And folks, that's going to lead us to a very quick break here on the Global Sim Racing channel, but do not go anywhere because we have Porsche Cup action coming at you live from the Red Bull Ring. Don't go anywhere.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced Sim Racing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-Box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. and our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really gonna reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
Welcome to the majestic Red Bull Ring. We are getting ready to watch the Porsche Cup cars take on this fantastic track. But before we do, let's run you over to our track guide for a brief refresher.
Welcome to the Red Bull Ring. Located near Spielberg, Austria, this track began life in a much more fast and sweeping format. Having gone through multiple different owners, it eventually was snatched up by Red Bull and has its 3 different layouts you see today. While they range roughly between 1 to 2.5 miles in length, the thing they hold in common are fast straights, hard braking zones, and very few corners. In fact, the longest and most common layout, the Grand Prix course, has only 9 of them. Spots like Remus and Gosser are the most popular corners for overtakes, but both involve dramatic elevation changes. Each have their perils. Remus tends to see drivers make contact when the blind cutback often goes wrong, whereas Gosser tempts you into braking far too late, and the downhill nature shoots cars miserably into the gravel. A few swift bends still scatter the track, with turns like Lauda, Rent, or A1 really testing a driver's accuracy at high speeds. However, most of them don't send you off into the grass. Rather, there is a lot of paved runoff. But they often include some nasty curves most cars will want to avoid hitting, as they've been known to damage suspension and under trays. A variety of types of racing compete here, with everything from lower Formula open-wheelers to motorcycles, touring cars, and all the way up to Formula One holding events regularly. Set among the gorgeously picturesque Alps, and including great racing on a challenging and history-rich circuit, it's easy to see why fans and drivers are both eager every time they come for a race.
Welcome back to the Red Bull Ring. And these Porsche Cup cars, Michael, they're going to feel right at home.
They're going to feel right at home here. Like you said, here in the Alpine region, sitting in a bowl, you're going to hear a different sound of a different kind of music as they run around this 2.6 mile, 4.3 kilometer course. It feels like a short course with only 9 turns, but it's a long way to go for every lap. But I'm telling you, it's going to feel like every corner something is happening here.
Well, we will have to get to that action shortly, but before we do, we want to quickly run you through the point standings for today's race. Felipe Loyola currently on top, but by a measly margin of only 8 points over Rodrigo Mies. Diego Morales about 14 points back from them in a very tight battle with Byron Daly and Ignacio Freitas there, so you can see that all on your screen. But Michael, we also have a teams championship, and what about that?
Teams championship, looking like we've got the Punto CL Racing Black. Those are our first 2 drivers in the drivers championships, followed closely 37 points back by the NinjaTrader Esports. The other 2 Punto CL Red and Blue following closely behind that at 50 and 67 points, and then the Precision Racing Esports Blue at 76 points back in 5th position.
Well, this is not our first round here. It's actually our 4th round, so let's run you through the details of the race today. It's going to be 26 laps with open setups, which is going to be very crucial to try to trim out these cars. Drive-through penalty at 13 incidents, disqualified at 17, and a bonus pole for pole, fastest lap, and 3 incidents or less. And right now, the driver holding on to that bonus point for fastest lap is Felipe Loyola. He has about a 0.3 of a second advantage over Cal Quinn on him, and around a track like this, that's pretty impressive, Michael.
That is really impressive. These turns are tight, and if you're making the most out of every turn, so look at it this way: you've got a certain number of turns to make up some time around a track that hopefully you can do better than the next person. If you're making up a tenth of a second on each corner, that's a lot. But that would be 9/10 around here. So if you really break that down, that 3.5 tenths that Cal Quinn has to Loyola, that is just the length of a wheel, or maybe from the nose back to the axle of the front wheel. That's a difference on each corner. So this is going to be a tight race. Looking all the way back to P5, we're still under a second. All of that with these straights connecting these little quick corners, that's going to be an interesting time to watch how people use the draft, use their braking abilities to get through these corners. And with the way this track is set up, there are some interesting interpretations of track limits. You are going to see, like right here, where we watch Horatio Calquin go completely off track. He is not touching a single bit of the black tarmac there. He is on the red and white curbing, just the same way coming in here to the penultimate corner. But watch as he comes down here. He is all the way out on the green. That is still considered on track. So depending on how brave you are and how far you think you can get out there, you might be able to create a little bit of a gap for yourself.
Indeed, and as we were watching there, you saw Rodrigo Mies able to bump his way up into P2 and cut that gap down to about 72 thousandths of a second. So an incredible run there from him. And let's go ahead and run you through that grid here today. It is going to be Felipe Loyola on pole position, but only by 72 thousandths of a second, as Rodrigo Mies will be right next to him. Horatio Calquin will line up in third, followed by Felipe Riquelme, with Diego Morales and Enzo Montesinos behind them. Trent Dingle will line up P7, followed by Israel Barbosa, and Peter Newhook and Michael Gagnon round out your top 10. Looks like Austin Hunter and Raymond Day will round out your field, Michael.
Yep, so a very tight field we're looking at today, though. If you watch what those lap times were, the intervals are tiny. And with the length of these runs from corner to corner, like I was saying earlier, that gets eaten up by the draft. So I expect to see a very tight race from beginning to end.
I do too, and we've got a couple of onboards out here today. First off, it's going to be Trent Dingle providing us that onboard camera. He should be able to give us some good views of just the elevation change around there. You can see him just talking to his team, getting set into the car. And Michael, how important is that to be calm at the beginning of the race? Just kind of relax yourself, have a little bit of a shakeout like that.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that. I talk to people all the time, and they're like, "Oh, you must be an adrenaline junkie." Well, no, I am, but not when I'm racing. I love to go and do fun, crazy, wild things, but when it's time to race, I am calm. I am just chill, cool as a cucumber. I'm cooler than the other side of the pillow. Let's put it that way. I'm really chill when I'm sitting in the car. It is time to relax. However, as hard as I try to do that, the beginning of every single race, you should hear my guys on the pit wall. They're like, "Michael, your heart's doing 120. You need to slow down." Like, okay, bring it down. But it's that adrenaline rush at the beginning of the race as we watch the last of the cars coming up here on our starting grid.
Just waiting for the last few of them to grid up here, waiting for Loyola, Calquin, and Morales, it looks like, as well as Austin Hunter. Loyola is taking his spot at the pointy end of the field. An important run here down into Niki Lauda, but not nearly as important as the run out of the Niki Lauda curve, as you really need to focus on that draft as much as possible. There, we've got a few others popping in, just waiting for Austin Hunter here. As the lights start to come on and the engines start to harmonize, waiting for the flag. There it is. We are racing here at the Red Bull Ring. That's a terrible start. A terrible start for Loyola. He is going to drop all the way down the field. Rodrigo Mies is able to get it, and Horatio Calquin, the one who is best suited to overtake on that. I'm also seeing Diego Morales up too. Felipe Riquelme is going to stay put, but Loyola all the way down into fifth.
And as expected, going through Lauda was pretty clean, but now is where the tensions start to rise. Working our way down to our next corner, coming up into turn 3, under braking heavy. Watch for some movement in the back as we go too wide, about 4 rows back.
That was Loyola being very, very aggressive on Felipe Riquelme, really diving that car down in deep. He's able to gain back one position and move his way up into P4.
Yeah, a little bit of jockeying for position, a little bit of defending farther back, but if we look at the way they're trying to make their way through this corner, look at that. We're just trying to keep everybody in line. Nobody wants to be the one who has the first crash of the day. Everybody's trying to do the best they can to put on a good show here in this Alpine track.
For sure, and with such a short lap time, these 26 laps are going to absolutely fly by you. They are almost done with their first lap here, just 2 more corners to go. Rodrigo Mies leads from Horatio Calquin from Diego Morales right now as they plunge their way down the hill into Rent. I believe we've had somebody off. That's Trent Dinkle. Dinkle is off.
Oh, looks like Dinkle is off, trying to recover here. Still looking pretty focused here, talking to his teammates, trying to figure out how is he going to get his way back up. But from that far back, he's got a 14-second gap off the leader. That's going to be tough to make up, but there's always a chance. Never say never in racing.
Exactly, as everybody dives their way through the first corner. Oh, Israel Barbosa very, very far wide in the back. That's going to set up a drag race between himself and Enzo Montesinos, but it was over before it even started as Enzo Montesinos able to get his way by. Back behind them, I see Raymond Day and Michel Gagnon getting very, very feisty as Barbosa tries to get that spot back there from Montesinos, able to get the power down. He's got it. That's going to put Peter Newhook into contention.
Oh, Newhook trying to make his way around now, too. Both Newhook and Barbosa got really good timing for putting their power down. Coming off of that corner is difficult. It is pretty slick when you're trying to go through there. But as we see, Barbosa says, nope, I'm going to try to... Montesino says, nope, I'm going to try to make some hay while the sun shines here. I'm going to try to just get right into Barbosa's draft and pull away from you. I'm not sure that's going to happen, though.
No, Newhook looking very, very feisty here early on, keeping an eye on the battles up in the front of the field as well. But this is the closest battle that we are seeing out on track. Is Barbosa trying to lead away from Montesinos. Montesinos down one from his starting position. They work their way out of Worth right now and down into Rent Corner. There, a little bit of an earlier apex there from Barbosa, it has to be said.
Yeah, coming out of Worth, trying to come through that corner, setting yourself up just the right way can be challenging. There are about 2, maybe 2.5 ways to go through there, but look at that. He's found himself offline right now as Loyola turns our fastest lap with a 130.146, trying to get up into turn 1, holding that inside, running wide out onto that sausage curb. Oh, this is going to be an interesting play to the end.
It is, as that was Montesinos chucking it off, but this is a carbon copy of what we saw last time. This time Montesinos getting a little bit weavy. Peter Newhook maybe looking to try to take advantage here of Barbosa, moving his way around, trying to see if there's anything in there. Nothing happening just yet, but almost contact there. I believe that was Raymond Day.
Yeah, I think you're right. Looking as we set up, trying to come through here, we're on board with Raymond Day, looking around, trying to find a way to get through these guys. Taking a look as they both defend deep onto the inside, holding enough ground to not make contact with the power down, and just making it around number 87, Peter Newhook. Oh, little contact there too. Little contact.
Little bit of contact, a little bit of off track there for Raymond Day, but he's able to keep everything gathered up back under him. But he's going to be a little bit compromised here as he tries to get by Peter Newhook going down into Worth. They are really trying to hold on to this here, working their way, and they're still side by side.
Oh, Raymond Day doing the best he can in a disadvantaged line, trying to come down into here. Look at that, just getting his nose ahead, holding on to that position on the outside, not letting him come outside. Is he going to over under here? As Rodrigo Mises just gets into the 29s with a 992, just like this car.
Exactly, as now we see Day. He's going to try to pull off a little bit of a move here, coming up into the braking zone. Almost thwonks him there, but completely misses the apex, and he's out into the wall.
Finds the wall, ends his day. That's not what you want to have happen. That happens, unfortunately, but he just got a little bit too deep into that braking zone for turn 1. As we go back to the GSRC replay, watching him come off this final corner, gets a really good run. Day is right here in the draft, going to take a look just now. Okay, peeking, trying to get up in there. Where's my brake zone? Where's what? Oh, that was the marker I was looking for way back there. Sometimes going into those corners, you need to take note of what you see on the right side of the track as well as the left, or the opposite. Normally you get up in there, you can see where that brake marker is. You know you want to brake at the 100 marker or the 150 or the 50 or whatever. You know what point you want to brake at, but if you can't see it because the other car is in the way, well, you need to have an alternative location on the right side to be able to tell where to brake.
Well, and he clearly didn't have that as we choke back in on the lead here. This is Rodrigo Mies leading from Horacio Calquin and Felipe Loyola. They're starting to separate themselves out a little bit here. Rodrigo pulling about a 1.1 second advantage over the rest of it. As we've got a little bit of time here as this starts to play out. Let's go back and check out that replay from Trent Dinkle to find out what happened there to him. So this is coming down into Verth. I wonder if he just caught a little bit of that outside gravel.
Yeah, it looks like as he's coming through here. Yeah, right there. There it was. Got a little bit of gravel. Oh, and just tries to have the power down with one wheel. That one powered wheel down into the gravel. It's really difficult. He would have gotten a 1X at this point anyway. So we look from the onboard coming around here, trying to set it up just to touch a brake. You got to drag it as you come in here, but he missed his apex right there, and then the rear end comes around because he got a little bit too much gravel.
Yeah, just sent him around a little bit too much there as we now jump on board. This is Loyola starting to look a little bit threatening on Horacio Calquin. He's not going to have a whole lot of overtaking opportunities here into the infield, but rest assured that that number 07 Punto CL Racing Black Machine is going to be on it.
Yeah, these guys are, it's funny when you get a shot and you look from them going all down the straightaway here, it's just a bunch of red tails all out in front of you. All of these cars have a very similar paint job. They're all part of Punto CL. And when you see them coming down there and you're looking off into the distance, even the orange one looks a little bit red as we watch them coming down the pit straight here. They have all that very similar look. But as we note, Loyola putting together yet another fastest lap, just a couple of thousandths off of his previous lap.
As he continues to go, by the way, just a quick update for fans of the 444, Felipe Riquelme. He had a bit of an off going down into Schlossgold. Looks like he just missed the braking zone, but we're going to keep our eyes here. Is Loyola trying to close in behind, maybe get a little bit of an over-under. Could he have the move here going into Schlossgold? He's certainly got enough of the draft to be able to take it. Oh, here he comes. Working it in. He's going to poke his nose to the inside. Is he going to stall out a little bit? He's got to be later on the brakes. He dives it down into Schlossgold. That's going to be Calquin trying to keep momentum, but it's going to be for naught. That is Loyola up a position.
Up a position. Nice pass. Teammates playing well together, trying to not take each other out, doing the right thing. This is a long race. We got another 20 laps to go. We're only 6 laps in. Hard to believe it with that much activity going on. But when you've got that much race ahead of you, it's not time to do anything silly, anything foolish to try to close in a position. You need to make your passes a lot smarter.
Yeah, you really do. Just got to be careful about it, trying to push your way forward a little bit. Make sure everything is going to be okay. Ooh, a little bit of a wide run there for the 666 of Horacio Calquin. He is going to have to watch out there, but I think we've got a replay queued up of Riquelme's accident. Michael, talk us through this.
Take a look at the GSRC replay. Let's watch as he comes up into the corner here, trying to get around. Little bit of extra curbing on the inside, puts the power down, doesn't use all the exit of the track, but now he's trying to make up time. He knows he's made a mistake and his brain is not in the right spot. Coming down here into the downhill braking zone. This is challenging as we watch the car just kind of squirming through here, heading too far out, getting into the kitty litter, and that's just not a good place to have the car. He looked like he was actually crabbing a little bit all the way down there. I'm wondering if when he was up at Schlossgold, if that inside curbing may have taken a little damage into that right front suspension.
It may have, but we've got a little bit of a battle for him on screen as he's trying to get by Israel Barbosa now going down into Schlossgold. Going to try to carry momentum around the outside of that corner, seeing if it'll pay off for him. He's at least got enough of an overlap to make things interesting. It's now going to be a battle of the breakers going down into Rauch. Oh, a little bit of a hip check there, and that is going to be Riquelme on through.
Riquelme pushing his way through, hoping he can hold it through Vort, looking around, checking his mirror, making sure he's got a little bit of a gap. Use this overrun as best as you can to try to maintain that gap. Riquelme doing a nice job holding it. Barbosa still taking it a little bit off the preferred line where you take up too much of that inside as we watch him going down into Jochen Rindt as he slides all the way to the outside using every bit of the allowable space. Just a little bit of that inside curving, put the power down and head up to the Niki Lauda curve.
For sure, but it really looks like that Riquelme is starting to stretch his legs a little bit after that incident. The unfortunate news is he's got about 3 seconds up the road to try to catch up to Enzo Montesinos, and a further 9 seconds after that to get up and try to catch up to the back of Diego Morales, as there is a big gap starting to form out in this field.
Yeah, feeling pretty similar to Montesinos quite often. He's out there in the middle of nothing. There's nobody around him. This happens in a lot of races for me where I've got 4 seconds in front of me and 9 behind me, and I don't know what to do. Right now, it's looking like he's got 9 seconds in front of him with a little over 3 seconds back to Riquelme. Riquelme in a battle with Barbosa, so Montesinos has got to feel pretty good about the position behind him. He really needs to start focusing forward right now to see if he can make up that gap to Morales.
He certainly is, but Peter Newhook looking at trying to make up a gap here, trying to fight by Israel Barbosa for that 7th place position. Again, not really going to have a whole lot of opportunity unless he's side by side coming down through Schlossgold. But as they work their way through Wirth, this is just a matter of setting him up here, trying to see what he can get.
Yeah, he's just trying to hope that he goes a little bit offline as we watch him coming down into this penultimate corner, trying to set him up, use as much of this exit track as he possibly can. Does close it up just a little bit. He needs to take a little more curbing on the inside there. You can jump to pretty much just launch yourself Evel Knievel style over that inside curbing right there without taking any type of penalty and without even getting any damage on the car.
Let's see if he's able to do that Evel Knievel on the next lap. But right now, he is very close behind the backside of Israel Barbosa. You can see that gap starting to come down from about 3.5 tenths, eking its way down. He may not be close enough exactly to be able to get the run down here into Remus. But rest assured, he's going to try to do it. That was a lock-up in front there from Felipe Riquelme as they get out of the corner. That gap expanding back out to about 0.4 of a second. So Newhook lost a little bit of time.
Yeah, just missing that inside little turtle at Remus, looking down towards Schlossgold, downhill into the braking. Who's got the better feel for the brakes? Looks like they are pretty much even Steven going through there.
Very much so. Looks like there's almost nothing separating these two. They are a perfectly matched battle here. Newhook looked like he was a little bit faster through the infield on the last lap, but lost a little bit of speed when they came up through Remus.
Yeah, working his way around Remus, that was, very close, but into the braking of Schlossgold, it was almost meter for meter, millimeter for millimeter as they're working their way down. As we take a look now, Diego Morales making a run up on Cal Quinn. He's closed this up to 0.26, 2.7 seconds. He is ready to make his move.
Yes, he is, and he's been slowly but surely closing this down over the last couple of laps. Trying to poke his nose on it a little bit is Diego Morales. Not able to get it done there. It looks like Cal Quinn's got a better launch off of the line, but that draft is going to help him out. The gap continuing to come down a little bit. This is going to have to be a monumental effort if he wants to go for it, but I just don't think he is going to be close enough, and indeed, as they break down into Schlossgold, just not quite close enough for Morales.
Trying to get this nice arc as they come through there, working their way down towards Wirth, and just get every little bit of the extra track as you kind of want to look at it. You get just a little bit of that inside curving as we work our way around to get towards the Wirth corner and then head down for that super fast right-hander at Jochen Rindt. And I don't know if he's going to be close enough to do it. He is trying to hold on. And I think maybe the only thing keeping him in this battle is the draft. It was pretty even when we watched them going up towards Remus and towards Schlossgold, but right now it's looking like Morales may be being helped out a bit by Cal Quinn's draft.
He very well may be as that gap starts to inch its way towards a half a second here. Let's see if he can get the better run through Niki Lauda. Maybe that'll help him out just a little bit. Takes a little bit of that exit sausage curb. That was pretty darn perfect.
That if I were going to show a picture of exactly how to do that, you just roll up on that sausage curve a little bit, just so it gives you a little bit of pressure to hold you onto the track. And that was absolutely 100% textbook. He's doing the right thing. He's got his mind in the right place. And the part of that right place is inside the mind of Horatio Calquin. As we watch him peeking his nose out here, trying to be a little bit cheeky. Am I going to catch you on this downhill under braking? We didn't last time, but hey, I might this time. Look as he closes up. He's closing up under braking. I think he's really trying to get into his head now.
I think he is trying to play a little bit of that mind game. Oh, we've got a side-by-side in the back between Israel Barbosa and Peter Newhook. Newhook thought about going to the outside there. Now he's going to try to dive down, see if he can be later on the brakes, but he's got to catch himself to avoid contact.
Ooh, that was a crazy one. A good attempt. Really nice try, but it just wasn't going to happen. As we watch the GSRC replay, watch them coming through the corner here. Oh, there's what happened. He got a little bit wide. Barbosa out on the outside with Newhook taking up the inside, working his way down this hill, doing everything he can. Barbosa just sliding in right behind him. And as we, I think we switched angles here, working our way. Oh, we're looking at a different angle right now as they're coming up through turn 2, up to turn 3. Here's where it happens. Here's where watch Barbosa right here. He goes in, he gets on the brakes a little bit late, goes out too wide. Newhook able to take advantage of it, sits right up on the inside. And if we look at the rear view here, watch as Barbosa just tries to tuck up underneath him, get in that draft to try to recover a little bit of that mistake, take that inside, show the nose. I want to get in here. This is my corner now. I want this place back. And Newhook says, nope, not today.
A good denial there from Peter Newhook, as we've got a very similar battle shaping up now with Calquin and Morales. Morales now trying to go around the outside of Schlossgold, but that's not going to quite pay off for the driver of the 22 machine, but he is certainly trying to get into the head there of that Calquin car, as you said, Michael.
Yeah, doing a really nice job. He's holding it under 0.3 of a second all the way around the lap now. While we were going through that last replay, I kept glancing an eye over to take a look at what was going on right here, and I don't think it got over 0.3 of a second. It was all right there, and he's just playing with him, trying to get in his head. The 22 car, look right there once again, trying to get that nose in, trying to just get inside his head. As we take a look at number P5, number 444, Felipe Riquelme, working his way around onto, just a little bit too much. Get that nose around, hopefully get around the 24 car. This is going to be a tough pass to make.
It is indeed, but he was able to get it done, just powering by. I think that may have been a little bit of team tactics there, a little bit of a lift to let him on past.
Yeah, it could have been a course cut, but it looked a little bit more like, hey, I'll let you take the lead for a little bit. We're teammates. We're going for the team points here.
For sure. As we focus back here on that battle for the final podium position, Morales continuing to threaten here. He lost a little bit of time coming off of Remus, but he is not giving up in the fight.
Not giving up at all. He's going to be able to close this up. And this is something that you can do as the trailing driver. Is you get up and you push and you push and you push and you push, and then maybe don't hit a corner exactly right, or maybe overcook the throttle just a tiny bit and get a wiggle, but make sure the guy in front of you sees it. Now he thinks he's got an advantage on you, but then you close up on him. Let's see if Morales can close this up. Right now his gap isn't looking that great. If we take a look at Morales, the gap right around 0.6 of a second. But is he going to close this up? He's just under 6 at this point, trying to get closer and closer, get back inside his head as we watch him going through the Red Bull Mobile corner, all towards the start finish. Wait, what happened to Barbosa? Barbosa's back in 10th.
Oh, an incident there for Israel Barbosa. Just locked it up, it looks like, coming down into Schlossgold, trying to re-attack on Peter Newhook, and that forced him back down the order, and he now finds himself way in the back of the field.
And that's unfortunate. The battle between him and Newhook was quite a battle. That was, we weren't just covering it because it was fun. It was the best battle on track as we watched. Just a little bit too late on the brakes right there. Got out into the kitty litter. That's going to hopefully give him a point to ponder. And next time he comes up into there, he'll take it better. And we're going to see some more amazing racing from Israel Barbosa.
We certainly will, as we've already seen some pretty good ones. That is Trent Dinkle right up the road from him. And let's take a look here on Trent's onboard. Remember, he had that early spin. Just kind of see him there as he sights through the corner. A little bit off the apex there, but you can take that line through the corner, Michael.
Yeah, being wide there is okay. That is one of those interesting corners where you can go too wide through it and not lose a single bit of pace at all, not even a little bit. But right here, this one is really important. You must hit this apex and then come out, use a little bit of that green on the outside, just like we watched Dinkle do there. Beautifully done right here, just right there at that gantry. Get back over to the right side. Again, using the green, right? And at this point through the apex, you want to use the green again at the exit. And right here, touch of the brake, just a light dab to bring the tail in just around a little bit, move the weight to that right rear, and then ride all the way around just up to the edge of the kitty litter, going up to this penultimate corner.
And Trent doing a pretty good job of that. You can see just how fidgety these cars are. Remember, no ABS, no traction control, no nothing. So they are really just driving these things on the limit. Let's jump you back up to that battle for P3 as Morales has been able to close this back in on Cal Quinn. He's looking particularly threatening here.
This is the mind game I was just talking about. You let him open up, let him think that he's got something, closing up super tight right there. That is amazingly tight. That's crazy. Just look at him right here from this tail cam, right off the gearbox of Cal Quinn's car. Morales trying to get back into his head, doing the right thing, opening it up, now closing it back down, sitting right off of him. This is going to be the battle to watch for the next couple of laps at least, possibly all the way to the end of the race.
I think you may be right. He is not going to try to think about a passenger win. No, that was just a little bit of a psych out move. I was going to say that is a very, very tricky place to try to make an overtake, but he's
playing with his head.
Overspeed. Yeah, he is definitely trying to get into his head a little bit. There he comes. He may try to have a move going onto the main straightaway the way he's going. Some good draft here for Morales. He's going to poke his nose to the outside. Maybe going to try to get the done around the outside of Nicky Lauda. No, he's going to back off.
I'm wondering about if that was two moves or not. I don't know what their particular rules here are in this league, but generally you can zig, but you cannot zag. You get one move per corner, and when he went to the pit wall, that would have been his first move. As we watch as he gets up to the outside, is he going to hold it? Just hold it. Now's the time for an over-under. Get the power down. Get it down hard and see if we can make it all the way down this downhill. Just hold that inside for defense or take the outside and hope for the best. What's going to happen now?
Oh, what's going to happen now is he's going to have a look to the inside of Schlossgold. That's going to put Cal Quinn slightly offline. Is Morales going to be able to get the power down? It doesn't quite look like it, but he is going to certainly be poking his nose this way and that, trying to see if there's anything to be had.
Looking like we got, 10 or so laps left. It's time to make this move happen. He's been playing in his head long enough, but watch as we come through here. Oh, just a little bit wide for Cal Quinn. He needs to be on that curbing a little bit higher than what he did just there. He may be trying to hold a defensive line and sit himself in a bad position so Morales doesn't have as good of a chance to make it up. As we watch him going into this corner, super wide. Oh, that could have been a little bit of a brake check. Maybe reverse mind games happening at this point.
Yeah, it may be just pushing a little bit too hard. And Michael, it may also be a situation where he may have overcooked the tires a little bit.
That's actually also a really good possibility. These guys have been going absolutely hammer and tongs. Trying to get through here and through this race without destroying your tires is a huge challenge when you're fighting this close to the car in front of you or with the car behind you. As we switch off, looks like we're up to the leaders at this point. That's going to be Mises and Loyola, only 6.5 tenths between them.
Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on this. Rodrigo Mies has been losing time slowly but steadily to Felipe Loyola over the course of this race. It's certainly been something that I have been keeping my eye on as it goes along. You can see Mies able to get a little bit more of a gap on that last lap, but certainly not by much.
Yeah, clearly it's one of these. Maybe what I'm thinking is Mies is trying to hold onto those tires, hold onto those brakes, maybe save a little bit of fuel if he needs it later. Hard to say because these guys are teammates. They may actually be working together.
They may, but when you're battling for the lead of the race, it may be a little bit of gloves off situation. By the way, though, as we see Loyola popping down pit lane, I was about to say that we have had a pitter here at this point in the form of Trent Dinkle. Israel Barbosa has also come in, but it looks like Cal Quinn is also going to be joining Felipe Loyola down pit lane.
Yeah, I think Cal Quinn was tired of the fight, and he wants to try to make the gap happen right here as Loyola locks up a little bit coming into his pit position. But Loyola now doing what he can with Cal Quinn, trying to slide up in behind him, get his pit stop rotation done. As we watch Loyola coming back out, only 8.3 seconds stationary. So far, the fastest stationary, although, Cal Quinn was 8.5. So just a touch faster than Cal Quinn was stationary in the pits.
Well, now it is all down to Rodrigo Mies, and if he's going to be able to do it. Cal Quinn, I think, obviously trying to see if he can jump ahead in the pit cycle as well. So this could be a race where we see some of these things getting decided in the pit stop sequence as opposed to out on track. Be absolutely incredible to see if that is the way that they break out. We watch the 88 here. This is your leader, Rodrigo Mies, as he works his way around. Will he respond to Loyola? It's a very tricky pit entry here. You do not want to be caught coming in too late, as the iRacing system will penalize you, and he is going to come down pit lane.
I know that penalty all too well. My last race here, I was doing a TCR race with another league and came around, got a little bit wiggly, and found myself getting I believe it was a 30-second stop and hold during my pit. So fortunately, we watch Mies as he comes in here, makes a nice entry to the pit, but now we've got Loyola working his way. Oh, nope, sorry, that was not Loyola. That's
Loyola's coming back in.
Oh, maybe he was, speeding in the pits, I bet he was speeding. He may have overrun the pit entry or let the button off a little bit too soon when he was coming out, but this definitely looks like he's trying to serve a penalty here. No, wait, is he stopping in his pit?
Yeah, I'm not sure what this is. Massive drama. I'm not aware of a stop and hold penalty here.
I don't see anything in the chat window or anywhere. That's unusual. That kind of puts a big weight of relief on Mies out front right now. The number 88 working his way around. He may be wondering what's going on right now too.
I'm waiting to see with Loyola. He is stationary in the box. There shouldn't be unless. You can't not serve.
Yeah, it'll definitely hold you as he rolls out of the box with the AlphaTauri car coming up behind him there. We'll have to take a look and see if we can find out what that was.
Yeah, the bit of a mystery there, an absolute mystery to see what happened. But what that has effectively done is it's really broken up some of our best battles here, unfortunately, out on track, with Loyola falling all the way back down. But what that has done is it's promoted Cal Quinn up into P2, Morales into P3.
Yeah, and look at that gap now. Morales was right up on Cal Quinn for so long, and now he's got about a 7-second gap between them.
Well, and he was about 2 seconds slower in the pit sequence. And, you know, I have to be honest with you here, Michael. I think your theory may have been right, that Morales was just getting helped along by the toe, and that's really what allowed him to stay up behind. But that Simsa Esports machine just didn't have the outright pace.
Yeah, and taking a look at his last lap time, Morales, he was out of the pits, and his pit time, like you were saying, was right about the same, but they were both running their best laps in the low 130s, with Cal Quinn running a 130.0 and 130.2 for Morales. So they were pretty tight. I'm just curious of what's happened. I don't think it could be damage that would have been fixed through the pit stop sequence.
I'm not sure either, so that is a big change here that we will have to sort of get to the bottom of and figure out what happened. My goodness, talk about a game changer.
Yeah, truly game changer. Very interesting. Our tightest battle on the track is now one of the widest battles on track. They currently have, looks like about 7 seconds between them. Closest battle right now looks like, if we go back to Enzo Montesinos working his way up towards Peter Newhook again, this is coming back. Only 6/10 between them. Enzo Montesinos looking to get around Newhook, but I think Newhook may have overtaken him. I don't know if that was on track or through the pit sequence, but if I take a look at their times, Newhook was a little bit longer stationary in the pits, so this could have been an on-track pass. So, hey, kudos to you, to Newhook. Montesinos looking to fight back at this point.
Looking to fight back here with about 6 laps to go at the Red Bull Ring for the PRL Porsche Cup Pro Series. Yeah, Montesinos looking very, very threatening in the mirror of that blue machine. Here they come. Across the start-finish line. Yep, he's going to have a little poke through Nicky Lauda. Not going to go for it. I think that was just to see if he could maybe bite Newhook to go offline. And momentum is in the favor of Montesinos. I think this is almost done and dusted.
Yeah, take a little bit. So we've got technically 2 turns here. Coming up, this little bend is turn 2. So there could be a second move. What he needs to do right there is try to pinch him down, but I don't think Newhook's going to do that. He's going to try to stay out wide and hope for the over-under, but nope, it looks like it's not going to happen because Montesinos a little bit too smart to let that trick happen to him.
Newhook trying to fight back to the best of his ability here. He's got a little bit of a run as the track curves back to him. Now is where he's got to look for that over-under. Breaks a little bit early there to see if he can get it. But no dice. That is going to be Enzo Montesinos right on through.
Wow, that pass was a long time coming. I tell people how long it takes me to set up a pass, how long it takes anybody to set up a pass. Unless someone makes an incredibly egregious mistake, you are planning a pass for 3, 4, 5, 6 corners back. You have to set it up that far. There's no way you can go, well, I'm going to pass you at this corner. Just out of the blue. It never happens that way unless they make a mistake. Right now, though, we're watching Montesinos trying to open up this gap, though. He's doing a nice job. He's opened it up to almost 7/10 as we watch him head down the start-finish straight up towards the first corner.
Yeah, he is definitely starting to pull away there, just looking at their speeds as well. Montesinos looking like he is able to get a better launch off of the corners, carry a little bit more speed, and just streak away out into the distance as we cross over here. 5 laps to go at the Red Bull Ring. Call that about 4.5 as your leader, Rodrigo Mies, works his way through Verth right now.
Yeah, 6.5 minutes left in these 5 laps. It's going to be, looks like a fairly easy job for me, but I don't count out anything yet. As we all know, little niggling things can happen at the end of the race. As we watch right now, looks like Michel Gagnon coming into the pits. Is this for a penalty, or he was in earlier? This may be a penalty. I can't tell if he's taking fuel. He's not taking tires.
No. It's too long for fuel. I wonder, again, strange incidents here.
Dingle coming in too.
Off-track incidents are a drive-through penalty. They're not a stop and hold, so I'm not entirely sure. As Dingle misses his box there as well. I'm not entirely sure what the holdup is on why they're coming to rest in the box.
Looks like Trent Dingle has called it a day as well. I'm wondering if he felt like he was just a little bit too far back to do anything about it. And today was not his day for racing. And you know, sometimes that shot of tequila or whatever it is that he's going to go have right now is a little more enticing than finishing out the race.
Well, as we focus back in on our leader here, Rodrigo Mies, Michael, talk about the pressure that it is to be leading by this gap. I mean, I have not very often been in this position, I will be honest, to be leading the race by multiple seconds. But what is that kind of pressure like, especially considering you were just able to take a win in your Porsche Owners Club?
Porsche Owners Club. I had a very similar gap. And, you know, I realized that I didn't need to push the car. There was, I want to say it was Richard Petty, had a comment when somebody said, "How fast were you going?" And it may not be Richard Petty. It was someone of that era like that. And he said, "Just fast enough to win." So there's no need to push to every last millimeter around this track. when you have this kind of gap. But you also don't want to come off too much where you lose your timing, because there's so much of a flow that every track has its own flow. And some of them even have what I like to refer to as a song that you just play through your head. It's like you come through the corner and you go to the outside, and that's a terrible song, by the way. Never sing that one ever again. But every track has this song, has this flow that you have to play, and you can kind of slow it down a little bit, but you slow it down too much, it starts sounding kind of weird, and you never want that.
All right, I'm going to have to start singing more when I drive. I think that's what I'm going to take away from that, because that may be the key to me doing better.
Your car chief will love you for that, I promise.
As long as I don't hum while I'm driving, I think I'll be okay. Shout out to any driven fans out there. As we continue to watch here, Rodrigo Mies, he'll be coming to the line here to take 2 to go. Very, very good driving from him. He has been able to keep that gap up to about 10 seconds now, growing it lap after lap, lap after lap. Just
Or
doing
laugh
a
after laugh. We got those too,
lap.
yes.
Just doing a commanding job.
Doing a commanding job sitting out front. But as you mentioned, this is not done. As fans of GSRC know, and who have seen me at a particular Canadian track on POC night, you can lose a race from 10 seconds out front just by little weird things happening. It's not necessarily anything that he'll do or that I did. In my case, for whatever reason, I even went back and looked at the data. I was going the same speed within a couple of tenths, but one of the wheels just locked up for absolutely no reason, and I was within millimeters of the previous location. So Mies, it's not done yet. It is not even close to done. Well, it's close to done, but he's got to finish this race. Watching him go through here, just using a little bit of that outside, trying to stay off that inside grass. He does not want to make a mistake at this point. It is almost done and dusted, but let's not put the commentator's curse on him. No cursing, no cursing either. We don't do that on the air either.
No, we certainly don't. Mies here able to pilot it out of the infield section, nice and easy. This will be a nice points haul for him, and he'll be very pleased to see that. Because remember, just kind of an update on the championship standings as they run in this series. This will certainly help him out as they go around. He was in that deficit of 8 points to Felipe Loyola. And Loyola with that mysterious second pit stop, that is going to plummet him down the order. So we're going to see a big shakeup in point standings as a result of this.
This is going to be interesting to see what happens. Now, it is still a good haul for the team with this win, as we're hopefully going to see. But looking right here is Loyola working his way around the track, feeling almost lonely. If you look around, there's nobody near him. He's got 4 seconds to the car in front of him, Israel Barbosa, and behind him is Michel Gagnon, who I think we also saw serving some kind of penalty earlier.
Indeed, as here he comes. This is Rodrigo Mies, or excuse me, that is the 07 of Loyola. That is Rodrigo Mies. The cars are similar, I can't tell. As he's going to come through here, through the infield section, just a couple of corners more to go past the now famous Bull, right in the middle of that infield. Skillfully pilots his way through Verth. As they get their way back out, he only now has Rent and Red Bull Mobile to go. Continues to move it here, bringing it across the track, down into the apex, a little bit of clip of the curb, on into that AstroTurf, as you've said before, Michael, out of the final corner. And that is going to be victory again for Rodrigo Mies. That will be his second win of the season. Gotta wait a minute here for Horatio Calquin to cross over the line. Calquin coming out right now, and there he goes, taking the checkered flag from Barney the Flagman. And in third place, this is Diego Morales, the Simsa Esports driver. Bring that car out, and he will claim the final podium position. That's really going to round out pretty much any of our battles. Everyone else is pretty well spaced out on track. So we are going to go to a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing channel, but do not go anywhere. We will be back with podium interviews as well as unofficial finishing order.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced Sim Racing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware. And that's why we want to create something that's really gonna reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
Welcome back to the Red Bull Ring. You just saw Rodrigo Mies take a commanding victory out here to the tune of about 12 seconds over his teammate Horatio Calquin, and Diego Morales was able to come home in P3. Felipe Riquelme was fourth, followed by Enzo Montesinos, with Peter Newhook and Israel Barbosa in seventh. Felipe Loyola with that, we think, may have been a speeding in the pit lane penalty that he had to serve, dropping him all the way down to eighth. Michel Gagnon was in ninth, followed by Trent Dinkle, who was 5 laps down in a DNF here today, as was Raymond Day. Austin Hunter, they did not start. But we are lucky enough to be joined here in the booth by our third place finisher out there, Diego Morales. Diego, a little bit of a chaotic start there to get things off with, it looked like a bad jump off the line from a couple of guys in front of you.
Yeah, it was a tricky one. I almost hit the P1, I think, but it was a good start for me, actually. I could get to third place after turn one, so yeah, pretty good start for me.
Well, the good start, and you were able to just kind of keep on plugging away. It looked like you had a little bit of competition there coming into the pits, but then afterwards, you were able to just get a monster gap. What happened there?
Actually, I think that someone took a penalty in the pits, so I got the position. I think that it was Loyola. But actually, I made a mistake coming to the pits, and I think that I left the pits like 6 or 7 seconds behind Horacio there. I was trying like to save fuel behind him, but then I make that mistake, and then it's gone. And I was like kept sitting in third place there.
Well, we head to a different track next time out in the form of Sebring. A little bit bumpier, a little bit more fun. How do you think that's going to go?
Yeah, it's a really trick track, and with this car makes everything harder. Yeah, I'll do my best. Let's see like how we go over the bumps there. The braking is quite tricky, so we need some practice for sure.
Well, we'll be watching it to see how it goes, my friend. But anybody you want to thank for the run here today?
Yeah, thank you, Cinta, for everything that they do, setups, and all the advice that they give me. It's been quite fun to learn this car, and thank you guys for broadcasting us and everybody that is watching.
We are more than happy to do so. That was Diego Morales, your third place finisher here today. And now, Michael, I believe you've caught up with our winner, Rodrigo Mies.
Indeed, I have, Rodrigo. I got to say, that was quite a commanding finish you brought on there. Yeah, there was a little bit of something that happened with Loyola, I believe one of your teammates there. But at the end, you just kept pumping out faster laps and faster laps and faster laps. What was going through your mind at the end of the race there that you kept wanting to go faster and faster and faster?
Yeah, hello guys. Very happy with the result. The car was very, very hard to drive, especially with used tires. It got very loose, so I was not happy with the setup, but it was fast, so in my mind it was just only survive to the car and give everything. After the pit stop, the car was more loose even, so I was very careful. Felipe did the speeding on pit, I think, and he got a penalty, so I was just focusing on not making a mistake myself, so don't mess it up. And very happy with the B1.
So with the car as loose and a little bit twitchy as it was, there was really no way you could pull back, so you had to keep pushing. As we're watching here, what we see on our screen is you doing basically a four-wheel drift through the Red Bull Mobile corner. Was the whole race that way, or was it only at the end where the car felt a little too loose?
Yeah, it was all the race, but on the end, it just got worse. So I was just very careful with the throttle on that turn. I said the car was very, very hard to drive. I was watching my lap times, and with Felipe, we were making alien pace. I will say. You
did a 30.7, a 30.7, a 30.7, a 30.6. Then you got faster, a 30.2, 30.3, a 30.5, and a 30.4. You were really moving at the end. That was as fast as you were going at the beginning of the race.
Yeah, and if you look the lap 1 into lap 15, it was almost the same lap time. So I was just really focused as Felipe. He was very fast on this track, and the draft doesn't help me. So
a terrible setup tends to lean towards your advantage here. Then, are you looking for a similarly difficult to drive setup for Sebring next week?
For Sebring, I think it will be a little more tight than loose because of the bumps. This track was just very loose because of the aero configuration, a lot of straight, and that forces you to use the lower rear wing. So it was for that reason that it was very loose. I think I will be using something more understeery than oversteery for Sebring, because it's really hard to deal with the bumps, especially on the last turn.
Oh yes, turn 17, Sunset. It's one of those places that can destroy a dream. I've driven Sebring many times in many different cars, and I hope you're able to carry similar success next week at Sebring. It is a brilliant track, and I look forward to seeing how well you do there. Who do you have to thank for today's win?
Yeah, as always, guys, I would like to say thanks to you for broadcasting. Thanks to my team, to my teammates Felipe, Horacio, Enzo. I would like to say thanks to my family too that are watching the broadcast. And just that's all.
Great. Well, thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you next week. Congratulations on the win. And I'm going to toss it to DJ to take us out.
Well, thank you very much, Michael, and thank you to our podium finishers. That's about going to wrap things up for us here today. But before we go, we'd like to thank our sponsors. First and foremost, the Majors Garage, home of free baseline plus setups. Use our promo code MajorsGSRC to get 10% off, or simply click the link in the YouTube description below. We'd also like to thank ASR. They design and build the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile simulation cockpits available on the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com. And RaceLab. It helps you to improve your driving skills. Start using it now for free at racelab.app. Also, the ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing at thebutkicker.com. And NinjaTrader. Visit ninjatrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance. Thanks also to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed there on your screens. Additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out her Bandcamp for more of her awesome work. Thanks to the team today, Michael, Joe, and Dougie. You can find out more about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media listed below. Also, please check out our merchandise store at gsrc.storeenvy.com. We keep a link in the description below as well. And do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. Our next race, well, that is going to be the Grand Prix Legends as they take on the Fearsome Road Atlanta Circuit at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time this upcoming Saturday, January 29th. The next race for this series, you heard us mention it a couple of times, Formula 3s head to Donington Park, and these Porsche Cup cars head to Sebring. That'll be Thursday, February 3rd at 8:25 Eastern. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on your screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.